You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
The Kibbe and Friends Show.
What it is, bro?
Featuring Rob Kibbe.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Justin Corndog Cornett.
New guy's in the corner puking his guts out.
And show producer Bernie McPartland.
This is the DJ 3000, and it has 3 distinct varieties of inane chatter.
Talking cars.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do.
Diving deep on the topics that matter most.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
And totally redeem yourself.
And the Dukes of Hazzard. Available in iTunes, Stitcher, and whatever else it is you listen on.
Turn up the volume.
The Kibbe and Friends Show.
Kibbe and Friends Show, episode number 106. Available in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Instagram, YouTube, every now and then, Patreon, once a month. And this is the show our listeners have been waiting for. Something major has happened in this show. Something that could not have happened weeks ago, definitely not days ago, or even years ago. I have taken a series of vitamins, gentlemen. And with me today is Justin Corndog Cornett and Bernie McPartland, our producer. And I would like to know from you both, if you take multivitamins, does it turn your urine an alarming shade of green? Yes or no?
Wow. I cannot comment on that. I have no clue.
It's never happened? Or you can't say?
Never happened. I've never just taken random vitamins just because.
Bernie, you're up there in the years, right? you must take he probably takes a fistful of pills every morning, right?
He has a guilty giggle right now.
I do take a pallet of pills. Yes, I do. But green has never entered into that equation. No, not even a strange green. We can go through the yellow pallets, but nothing green.
Yellow/orange.
Oh, well, here's the answer. Turned out it was in Google. What's happening is that urine will turn a bright, sometimes neon yellow, in response to excess riboflavin. Riboflavin, also known as vitamin B2, is a common ingredient in almost all multivitamins.
There you go.
I assure you, this is like neon, like lightsaber, powerful, crazy pea color. And I know I'm not the only one out there. But that's not what we're really going to talk about today.
Apparently we are.
Well, for the people that enjoy the banter and don't like the Dukes of Hazzard stuff, we got to give them something. So, banter complete. Now, we can get to Corndog's not summer vacation, but spring vacation, where he was a media man, an honored guest at Bo's Extravaganza. John Schneider himself, the man who fictionally launched the General Lee on 1,000 jumps, actually had an event where he did a jump. And wouldn't you know, you remember this, Bernie? I predicted that Corndog would go there and he'll just saunter in. And next thing you know, there's a statue being made in his mold. I predicted this. It happened.
I do remember the word saunter, yes. So that's 100% accurate. The statue, is it bronze? Is it made of Louisiana mud? What's it made of?
I'm going to guess more of a meat product, probably wrapped in a corn-like deep-fried shell.
Jambalaya or something like that, maybe.
Okay, you went. Bo's Extravaganza has happened. Unlike the first one, it was not a rain out.
No.
He jumped his car and you helped set up the ramp.
That's right.
And you met all of the stunt legends. You're a friend. like they're posting on their Facebook pictures of you.
Not quite.
Dude, it's amazing. So what we're going to do in this show is you were there as a member of the media, but also you being you helped with this event. Right. So we're going to get the whole rundown top to bottom. You sent me 3 video interviews. You have a million pictures to chat through. Where would you like to start? Do you just want to kind of start at the beginning?
Right at the beginning, probably.
Okay, so you headed down there on Friday morning, and what did you take in tow with yourself?
I took my reunion script and the deck lid for my reunion car. And so I still need John to autograph it, but went down there with that, and my camera, my laptop, and bag of clothes, and that was it.
When you say deck lid, for those of us not in the South, does that mean the trunk lid?
Yes.
Yes. This is your reunion car that was in both reunions, the one that was jumped. How did you get this deck lid?
This isn't the original one. This is one that I just made up because the one that they had, the original one for the car was actually cut up. When they cut the car up, they cut the deck lid as well. They cut it in half. Same thing with the hood. They cut it in half. And so the original deck lid's long gone. So I had a spare deck lid. And actually the body of the car was originally Y2 yellow, that kind of a pale sunfire yellow. Mm-hmm. All the inside the trunk, the interior, all of that was still yellow, and then they just painted it orange. I did the same thing on the deck lid. I'm putting it back just the way it was, so I painted the bottom side of it Y2 yellow. When I do paint the top side, I will paint it orange, but I've already dusted some orange around the edge of it, like it would have been, because, they didn't tape them up really well. They just sprayed it. Wherever it went, it went. So anyways, I did that a few years ago, and then I took it to a Duke's event and got Ben Jones, everybody else to sign it. Tom Wopat, Catherine Bach, Roscoe, he signed it. Everybody signed it except for John Schneider. So I was hoping to maybe take it down there and get it signed. That was my goal.
It's going to happen.
Not really my goal, but I figured while I was there, I might as well take it.
Well, he's a friend of yours at this point. Again, I'm sure when he flips through his phone, he stops at the picture of you. He probably, Corndog, has assigned your picture to your number. Like, you're probably that level of friend.
You think so?
I have a picture of Bernie in my phone in a bar with his thumbs up. It was
refreshing. Yes.
It's totally legit. I think it was our first interacted evening together because we had known each other for some time, but we went to SEMA and we got to know each other better.
That was a great time.
Okay, so you go there. You said you got your script signed. So, and when you say reunion, there's two. Are you referring to the first one, the second? What do you mean?
The first one. My car, I'm putting it back the way it was in the 97 reunion, because the 2000 reunion, it was only used one time, and that was just for the big jump. And so it had a full cage in it, and half the interior was kind of semi-gutted out by that point. And so I want to put it back to the way it was on the first reunion, where it had all the interior, had a 3-point roll bar. It was more of a stunt driver car. I haven't been able to find a script for the 2000 reunion, but I have one for the 97 reunion. Here it is.
Show and tell items. For those of you listening, go watch this on YouTube.
So there's the script, and I've already had.
What's the one in red?
That's Sonny Schroyer, Enos. And then James Best is in the center, Ben Jones, Tom Wopat, Catherine Bach, Cletus, Rick Hurst, and then John just signed it down here this past weekend.
Awesome.
So, this is actually an early script. If you go through and you read the storyline, it's a little bit different than what actually played out.
Is this the one where they get Michael Knight on and they killing him?
That was an earlier script.
Than that one, yeah. I can see what they
This
did.
one here was October 24, 96, and they didn't start filming until December of 96. The guy that plays the bad guy, the Cam Cutler guy, the long-haired guy.
Yeah.
If you read the script, he's actually had some lines in it. During the regular production, he didn't have not a single word in it.
Oh, I assumed he was such a bad actor that they cut him.
No, he's all right. Yeah, I've met him. He's real nice. I don't know how much acting he's done, but he's pretty cool.
Okay, so you show up there, trunk lid in tow, script in tow. Then what happens? Oh, and you're a valued member of the media with pass.
I was expecting them to give me some kind of lanyard or something, and all they gave me was a little stick-on bracelet that I was supposed to wear all weekend long. So shower, dirt, play, everything, you had to wear that bracelet. So by the end of the weekend, it was kind of worn out. But so anyways, I entered the gate, and I was supposed to talk to Barry to get the pass. And no one knew where Barry was.
Yes.
Right. You had told me that they told you if they were going to have a press conference, and if I was going to be there, I needed to be there by 3:30 to do the press conference. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I got there right at probably 11 o'clock, and well, like I said,
3:30. Well, I better show up early.
Well,
what if there's true?
In case there's sandwiches.
Is there a food table or some type of crap I can take?
Yeah.
Were they still in their jammies? Or like, well, what the hell, man? We're not open yet. Like, what?
I was their alarm clock, put it that way. Mm-hmm. They were very busy when I got there. I left Jackson probably about 8:30 or so in the morning, and just go on and get down there because you know how it is. The longer you wait, the more chaotic it's going to be.
Yeah.
Anyways, no one knew where Barry was. I said, all right, whatever. And I asked, what about the Smith brothers? Because I'd already texted with him and told him I was going to be there. So they said, yeah, just go around the corner and his truck's in the back. So I pull up, and about the time I'm pulling up, James and Bobby Smith are standing at the end of his truck, and Jack Gill standing there with them, the old stunt coordinator.
Legendary stuntman,
yeah.
Director Jack Gill, still in the league, the man behind Fast and Furious, that guy.
Go look at his IMDb page. It's loaded with movies and TV shows and everything. Anyways, I haven't seen Bobby, his brother, since 2003, so it's been quite a few years. And Jack, I haven't seen him since the Bandit Jump, and even still, I only saw him in passing, but prior to that, I hadn't seen him since 2003 either. Well, I take it back. The Smith brothers I saw in 2004 when we went out to California. So anyways, as soon as I walk up, he greets me and everything, and right away he introduces me to Jack. He tells Jack about the podcast and everything, and so Jack, he's real kind of quiet. Here's a big famous stuntman, and he's just real kind of calm and collective and quiet. So, Friday, we were around each other enough to where, of course, he recognized me and stuff, and James told Jack that, I was there to help him as well. We got started building ramps and all, and then so about 3:30 rolls around, and I cut away and go to the press conference. And then that's when I finally found Barry. I even went back and checked a couple times before then. Still, no one knew where Barry was. So I show up, and then there's this one guy walking around with a clipboard, and I said, where's Barry at? And, well, I'm Barry. I said, okay, well, then I've been looking for you. So anyways, he gave me the bracelet and everything that I needed, and that's when we sat down. And of course, the local newspaper, they got first interview. And I didn't know if it was going to be everybody that was going to be there, or if it, I didn't know how it was going to be, but turns out it was just John Schneider and none of the music people or anything, which is fine with me. I wasn't going to interview them anyway.
Unless it was Kid Rock, yes.
Yeah, and the way it was is you go up to the front chair and you sit down in front of them and you get 5 minutes. And so you ask them whatever and record whatever and all that. And so after your 5 minutes is up, you're up and the next person's in. For whatever reason, they had me as the second person to interview them.
Well, we have your interview here. Should we run it?
That'll be fine. It was short and sweet.
Here we go.
I'm not going to be long, just because we just interviewed you a couple weeks ago.
I know.
So, can you tell me your thoughts on your stunt? What are you looking forward to in your stunt? It's been raining, but luckily it's dry enough now. But
I could do it right now.
Yeah.
But nobody'd see it. If Jack Gill says you hit this thing at 41 miles an hour, and James Smith has a little thing in there that beeps when it's 41 miles an hour, so I know it's 41 miles an hour, and I'll be okay, then I know I'll be okay. I'll just do it.
Okay.
I've known Jack Gill for Dukes. We're on our 40th anniversary. We started shooting 41 years ago, but I knew Jack when I was in high school. So I've known Jack long time.
20 years.
20 years. But he said it today that not going far enough, which means not going fast enough, is the enemy. Because then I'll nose into the back end of the catch ramp. And it's wet out there a little bit. They're out there working on the road right now. But I'm looking forward to having that behind me. And I'd love to say, oh no, I'm not scared. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it, but I'm scared.
How was it after last year's jump? Which I know,
last year was like something you do in a parking lot when you run over a beer bottle and go, oh, what was that?
But you got the first one past you, so.
Well, I wouldn't call that a jump. That's like your first kiss. I wouldn't call that. This one, I think I'm going over a cop car. So I've got to be up in the air, right? So I don't know if I'm landing on a ramp anymore, or if I'm landing on tires, or just the ground, or what. His concern is once I hit the ground, if the front wheels break out, then I'm going to go in the ditch. And if I go in the ditch, I'm going to turn it over. So I could wind up upside down in the ditch at the end of this thing. But there's a roll cage in the car. I mean, I have done that. I've accidentally wound up upside down in a vehicle before. Accidentally. Never done it on purpose.
Was that on the set of the Dukes, or?
No, I was in a race, in an off-road race.
Oh, okay.
And got pushed into a couple of bales of hay and flipped the Jeep over end over end.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It looks much worse from outside than it is from inside. You're just like...
Well, how many cars are you expecting for the whole show? Like General Lee's?
We had 65 General Lee's registered. So I'm expecting 65. They're loading up out there, filling up out there right now. Okay. And now, mind you, we have 69 Chargers, we have 68s, I'm sure we have some 70s, we've got a hovercraft out there, we've got a big truck over there. My thing is, it's a state of mind. So it doesn't have to be a 69 Dodge Charger to be a General Lee. If you've got a Fiero that you've painted orange and you got the General Lee and the flag on the top and an 01 on the door, it's a General Lee. So I'm proud of all of them. It's a state of mind, not a particular car.
Right. That was it. I didn't have any questions. Cool. That was simple enough.
Love it.
It's going to cost you a picture, though.
I like that you made him pay with the picture. Okay, a lot to unpack in that one. So, you did a very nice job. That was really, really good. I thought you asked insightful questions because I'm sure everybody else there just asked the stock stuff. And
that was the thing. Like I said, I wish I didn't go second because, after I did the interview, I sat down and the first guy asked for a picture too. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get a picture out of him as well.
Yeah.
So I went back and I sat back down in my spot, which was like the second row. I kept recording other people's interviews thinking, well, maybe I'll get some other good information. But a lot of it was, it was about his music, about, the flood and a couple other things that, everybody else has already heard.
Yeah.
There was a couple other things that people had asked about. And I thought, man, it made me think of something else I should have asked him. And so I wish I was a little bit further down the line so that I would have got those ideas because I didn't have a notepad or anything in front of me. I was just thinking, okay,
just off the cuff type stuff.
Yeah, just kind of car related stuff and all that. So,
well, A, good job. B, so to give people some context here, we're in a generation where at these events, you have all these legendary stunt people that were originally involved, like Jack Gill and all the ones you're going to share here shortly. But now we have another generation of people coming in behind them that are fans, that are now participating, like yourself. The Smith brothers are probably the ones that have the most notoriety because Jamie Smith is driving and doing literal stunts, and he can put a car on two wheels. That's this whole next generation, but they're all fans. We're all just huge fans. Jamie Smith, when you and I were in Virginia, we walked around real General Lee's, and he was a close second to only you in knowledge, right? And that's something, right, Bern? I mean, that's...
Absolutely.
That's up there. That's pretty far up there. And they've done a number of General Lee restorations. They manufacture a series of parts. Like if you want a wide push bar, a number of people have asked me because of the Kibbe Lee that we're doing, like, well, you make a wide push bar too? And my answer is no. I would just purchase from the Smith brothers because they're making it off the real jig. So buy theirs. You should buy our small push bar from Warren Customs. All of this really cool stuff is going on. But what I wanted to know about the stunt, so John Schneider actually jumped to General Lee. Now, his state of mind thing, no. It's a 68 or 69 Charger. It's not a General Lee. But he did jump one that looks like the General Lee. I have no problem with bodying up a damn near anything so that it looks like a Charger at least. I assumed it was going to be ramp to ramp, but it was not ramp to ramp. Why was that?
Well, originally it was going to be ramp to ramp, but then I don't know if maybe they just going into this event, the weather kept saying rain, 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 rain. You put rain in there and you're not going to get enough speed. You just really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how much they actually really did plan to go ramp to ramp, but they didn't want to go ramp to ground just to make it easier on him. So what we did was we just piled up a bunch of tires. We did 2 or 3 layers of tires that made kind of a ramp and put hay bales on top of it. And that would be a good cushion. And plus it would kind of save the car too as well.
When I saw the video of it, I mean, I was checking Facebook, Instagram all day Saturday. When I saw the landing, I thought, oh, he missed the ramp, the closing ramp. He totally missed it. And then you said, nope, that's how it was supposed to go.
Well, in a sense, yes, he was supposed to land on the ramp, but that's one thing that's really interesting about these stunt guys is they've got it down pretty precise, and he was supposed to hit 40 miles an hour. One thing that James Smith told me is for every mile per hour, you add 4 feet. So if you're 2 miles an hour off, that's 8 more feet that you're going to fly. He was supposed to do 40. He did 41. They clocked him. I don't know if you could see in any of the videos, but Jack Gill is standing on the ramp as John Schneider's approaching, and he's got a radar gun on him to see where he's at. And so he clocked him at 41 coming down the road. And so John's not a professional stuntman, so of course his nerves are going wide open. And so, 40, 41, they're the same to him. But that made up the difference. So really, had he done 40, he would have nosed down right into the middle of the landing part of it. So they had it figured out right, but that's just common error, I would guess.
Was the car okay?
Yeah, it was. Back to the miles per hour thing, they don't go off of the car's speedometer. They have a GPS gauge, an actual, I don't know what brand gauge it is, but it's an actual gauge, and then it has a GPS sensor. And the reason why for that is if you're spinning tires, it tells you you're doing 50 miles an hour when actually you're doing 35. Yeah. So they go off of the actual GPS gauge. So, yeah, the car survived fine. I mean, it banged up the front end. It busted the radiator, and it probably drove the front frame rails up a little bit. But the one that James Smith jumped last year, I'm sure you remember that jump, he landed pretty flat, and the whole front end kind of crumpled down, and the back crumpled down a little bit. That car was up there. The guy that bought it, he actually put it on a frame rack and had it pulled back in alignment and kind of straightened out the panels a little bit. It runs and drives great. So the car that John drove, it busted the radiator, probably bent up the core support, but, Crown Vic core support, where are you going to get one of those, So, the sheet metal was banged up a little bit, and the way that they have the fenders and the doors and the quarter, the doors do not open. It's just a door skin. And so they've got it tack welded to the edge of the quarter, and they've got it tack welded to the edge of the fender. So, of course, when the fenders went up, it buckled at the doors, the fronts of the doors, the door skin, because, it's kind of like a NASCAR. It's just all sheet metal body.
Yeah.
You could pull it back out and straighten it up and put a radiator in it and a core support and, probably do an alignment on it, and you'll be up and down the road again.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That went well. We have some other interviews here. I really want to hit the next one. So, Jack Gill. So, back when this was the Kibbe and Finnegan show, we reviewed the episode where they did the famous barn jump. And this was Jack Gill. It's
in this corner, Luke Duke.
Yeah. So, Luke has to save the farm, he has to go against his principles of fighting, like boxing. Because when he was in the Marines, he was such a damn good boxer, he almost killed the President of the United States. Something like that was the gist of it. So anyway, the episode ends with the generally jumping through a barn, like the roof of the second story of this barn, and collapsing it because the mafia is inside. I forget all the details. Yeah. But that was Jack Gill.
And it was a legit barn, too. It wasn't a fake prop barn. It was a legit barn.
This is amazing. This is Jack Gill before he was Jack Gill type stuff. You've told me in text back and forth, this was the first time on the Dukes of Hazzard that they used the jump vest.
Correct.
Which we've heard about a number of times. And you got an interview with Jack, so I'm just going to go ahead and play it right here. It's probably another 3 minutes or so, right here.
He tells us. All right. Who are we talking to here?
Jack Gill.
Jack Gill, stuntman, stunt coordinator, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, little action director, almost everything.
What was your favorite stunt to perform on the Dukes?
Oddly enough, the sliding around corners was more fun than the jumps.
Okay.
The jumps are a lot of fun in the air. The landing kind of sucks. But I got to say, even though the jumps are spectacular and everybody oohs and ahs over the jumps, the fact that you've got, with General Lee with a big 440 in it, and coming around corners hot with a bunch of people chasing you, and you're always in the lead, that's what's the most fun.
Okay.
Because it's like a real chase. When you're doing a jump, it's a single piece in the TV show. You're doing the chase, you're usually doing 4 or 5 corners all together, so you're really feeling like you're being chased by Roscoe and the guys, so that's what makes it fun.
Okay. Can you kind of paint a picture for us for the famous barn jump?
That was the first time we ever used our suspension harness. And when they first, kind of talked to me about it, it was designed by Jerry Summers and Bobby Orison. And when they came to me with it, they said, we think this is going to keep people from breaking their backs. Prior to that, a lot of people who were doing car jumps were getting broken backs, which we don't want. So what this was a harness that goes around your rib cage but doesn't incorporate your butt, and they suspend you from the ceiling over the roll bars and then push you on bungee cord that are on your shoulders. They push you into a seat and tie you into a 5-point harness. So now your body is suspended between the top and the bottom of the car. So when the car hits on all fours, your butt can't really slam into the seat. The suspension harness kept us from breaking our backs, and we're still using that to this day in the stunt business. Suspension harness has been updated a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing, and the barn jump was the first time we ever did it.
Did you work on BJ and the Bear? And if so, how long did you work on BJ and the Bear?
I only did one episode of BJ and the Bear, and it was a motorcycle thing. We came in and jumped motorcycles over a bunch of flatbed semis. But most of the time, I was either on Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, or Fall Guy, Riptide. There were so many action TV shows back then that you just bounced around to all of them. Mm-hmm. And once I went from Dukes, which I was working on 5 days a week. When I finished Dukes, I went to Knight Rider, and I was on that 5 days a week. So when you go to the other shows, you really can't bounce around too much when you're on a show for that long.
Okay. Do you think of anything else?
I can tell you a little bit more about the barn jump. Is that when it was kind of a barn like this, but a 2-story barn, and we put the ramp out 50 feet away from the thing because we knew the jump was going to be about 120 feet. So you put the ramp 50 feet away. The apex of the jump is right in the middle of the barn. And so the special effects crew started using chainsaws to saw the wood up to make it easier to go through. And they missed about a 40-foot long 4x4 post that was right in the middle of the barn. And so the pictures that you see me going through, the front of the car hit this 4x4 post and picked the front end up, and I landed on the other side on the tail end of the car and rolled the car twice. Luckily I was okay, but the car kind of got trashed after that, and so I had to do a landing, another mini ramp landing that you see.
Small ramp. Okay.
So
I think that was it, really.
All right, great.
You went to dinner with him later that night or the next night? Is that how it...
Yeah, we interviewed Friday night. We went to dinner Saturday night.
Yeah.
Here's more show and tell. Here's a picture of Jack Gill with the barn jump car afterwards.
Yeah, watch the YouTube video.
So that's that car. And you can see he looks pretty cheerful. He made it through pretty well. So
not dead, no broken.
Apparently the vest worked pretty good. The reason, you're probably wondering why I asked about BJ and the Bear. My friend in Australia, he owns the BJ and the Bear truck. And so he said, if you see Jack Gill, ask him what all he did on BJ and the Bear. So that was where that question came from. And my friend Adam Danino was standing over my shoulder, and that's where I looked at him and I said, can you think of anything else? I was just there again, just kind of winging it.
I've seen the photos of him on Knight Rider. I do have a little extended part of that interview if you want it here.
Hey, remember when you were in the Beatles and you did that album, Abbey Road, and at the very end of the song, it goes, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. You remember that? Yes. Is that true?
What did he say to that? Did he know that song?
I don't know. You tell me.
That was all I got. You only sent me that extra little clip. I'm just kidding. That was...
That is how I feel sometimes when I'm doing interviews, because those two are probably, I guess, my first face-to-face interviews. So
the Jack Gill thing is awesome. Before we continue further, though, something else that's awesome has to do with soft, cuddly underwear. And get this, fellas, it also has to do with Bob Ross. My secret shame. Do you guys know why Bob Ross is my secret shame? Because of his soothing, silky, soft voice. When you read an ad, first of all, you're given something called copy. And MeUndies is so flexible, they give us a lot of freedom, just like their underwear does, to state the things that we would like to state about their product line, which we have done so well. But every now and then, their copy is too good to not just use, so I'm going to read something they say here. MeUndies are so soft, they make Bob Ross's voice sound like Gilbert Gottfried. Now, fellas, I'm going to play for you Bob Ross and Gilbert Gottfried, and you tell me which one you want on your Johnson. Right here, just a second here.
Let's paint several little happy trees and push. Look at there. There. MTV, the land of happy little trees.
He did a promo for MTV. I forgot about that. That was Bob Ross. So, soft, smooth, silky. This is Gilbert Gottfried.
Here's a sea captain the size of a Rice Krispie, and he falls in the water, and a whale...
Bob Ross?
Paint several little happy trees and push. Look at there. There. MTV, the land of happy little trees.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Here's a sea captain the size of a Rice Krispie, and he falls in...
I think it's pretty clear. Which do you want downstairs? Cuddling you, supporting you. Not only will you feel like your loins are being hugged by joy itself, the joy of painting was Bob Ross's mantra, but MeUndies gives you multiple style options for men and women. And this month, this is new, men can now try the new boxer brief with Fly, which is the same great cut as the boxer brief, but now with an added option for guys who prefer to go through the gate versus over the fence. Bernie, your thoughts on this wonderful, incredible news. Take it away.
You know, that is incredible. But before I comment on the new product line, I'd like to share a story with you, if I may.
Please.
Now, if you've heard my account of this, just bear with me. I think you're going to agree that everybody else listening is going to benefit from it. We were camping that weekend, guys. Innocent enough, my wife and I in one tent. Good friends just across the way in theirs. It had been a great day of adventure, capped off with a roaring fire, steaks, and some s'mores. The camp radio was tuned to a faint signal for music just to pass the time. My friend strumming his guitar along with the song.
Sounds
Picture
wonderful. Jeez.
It was time to pack it in for the night, so as we prepared our gear and stowed our stuff, the radio continued from music to the local area weather. A chance of storms in the night.
Uh-oh.
Nothing new to us. We had all the prep for this, been there before. About midnight, the sky announced the storm's arrival. Thunder is extra loud when you sleep in nature, you see. The wind was next, as the wind chimes from the RV next door began to sing. Still no concern from us. The cool storm air was welcome on this humid night. Then the rain. A Texas thunderstorm can be as deceiving as it is predictable in its output of fury. This was a classic supercell, they call them. The rain changed from a shower to sheets coming down, then to a hard wall that sounded like a waterfall just outside of our tent flaps. A campground is more than dirt and grass, so next was the flowing mud through the camp. A light clicked on at our friend's tent as they realized what we knew. Our prep had not been enough for this.
Are we still doing the underwear bit? Are we?
Chairs had blown over, and camp things were being moved by the flowing water. Did I mention our camp was only several feet from a happy, babbling creek? Well, this babble had turned to an angry foam when my friend cried, "Help! Help!" It was their dog, Spike, who had run accidentally into the raging creek of water and was in danger. Our friends were holding his leash and trying to pull him back, but Spike was a healthy 70 pounds, and with the current of the water, their arms were fading, and Spike was finding it hard to breathe while swimming as hard as he could, the leash now tight around his neck. Melissa began to cry and could not hold as strong as Bert. "Help!" he yelled again. So I looked around and found nothing to use, but I had an idea.
Here it comes.
I ran over to the torrenting creek and immediately shed my sleeping pants and maneuvered my way into the swift and now chilly water. I tied a loop in my pants and slipped them over Spike, kind of like a yoke of sorts, around his shoulders and began to pull. "Bert, drop the leash," I said, "and come pull on my pants."
Yep, I see this.
Of course, the pants were alive with vivid colors, so they were easy to see in the murky, rushing water. Bert pulled, I pulled, together. We all pulled until Spike was on the creek bank. A bit shaken, but safe. I knew it would work because my pants were more than pants. They were my MeUndies, and everybody knows that micromodal fabric is not only soft, 3 times softer than cotton, by the way, and 100 times softer than the leather leash Spike had around his neck. But they're also strong enough for this job. Spike would not be injured in this rescue, no. You boys did it, Alyssa sobbed happily. Yes, we did. We boys were properly prepped after all. So now you know how to properly prep your boys. With MeUndies. MeUndies. MeUndies.
Bernie, I'm not sure what to say. I'm heartbroken, and Bob Ross.
Let's paint several little happy trees.
Gilbert Gap.
He's a sea captain.
I don't have a clip for the dog here, but I think we know what he would say.
Bernie painted a good picture.
Corndog, can you give our customers the information they need to not only purchase MeUndies, but to get them with an amazing deal only for our listeners? Sell some undies, my man. You basically broke into John Schneider's studios, befriended him. Jack Gill calls you son. We haven't even got to the stuff with Jumpin' John Cade yet. Gary Baxley texted me today. Is Corndog available for more discussions on my next stunt? You can do this. Sell some undies. We need this so bad. Go ahead.
To get your 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed, go to MeUndies.com/KAFS. That's MeUndies.com/KAFS.
There you got it, right, Bern? I mean, pro.
Yeah.
The life of a 70-pound dog has been saved because of him. Yes.
Thank you, Corndog. Thank you for being you. For putting these undies in perspective. MeUndies.com/KAFS.
That's MeUndies.com/KAFS.
That's what he said. See? It will make sense. 3 years. This is going to be hilarious 3 years from now. Okay, so.
You sure?
For 2 of us, it's awesome. Okay, so you're back at the show here. All the other stunt guys, and I feel silly saying it that way, but all these other legends are there too. We knew Jumpin' John Cade, who is not somebody I've ever even seen in person after that. I've only seen a couple pictures of him on the set after a jump. He was there. You did get to meet him. Is it known that he has Parkinson's? I mean, he was there in public. He was there in public.
Right.
So.
Right, and like you said, he doesn't do Dukes events. It used to always be called Dukes of Hazzard Convention or Dukes Fan Club Convention or something like that. But that was back in 2002, and he went to that one, and it was in Sperryville, Virginia, at the first original Cooter's place. And so he showed up for that and has not been back to a Dukes event. Not like he had anything against it or anything. I just think he just was never invited or, kind of forgotten about until this weekend. That was his second Dukes event to ever be to. So after I interviewed Jack Gill, I was talking with someone and said, well, did you see John Cade? And I said, no, the only pictures I've ever seen of him are the old pictures. So I don't even know what he looks like today. So he said, well, he was just standing right here. I don't even know who I'm really looking for. So he's like, well, there he is. And so I go over and I introduce myself and talk to him and everything. And he is loaded down with stories. He just goes on and on and on. And just stuntmen always kind of elaborate a little bit. If it was a 100-foot jump, then it was really 125 foot in their stories, and then the next time they tell it was 130. So I don't know if these numbers are dead on correct or whatever, but he is supposedly the one who has jumped the generally more than anybody. And that didn't come from him. That's just what I've heard and read in the past.
Corey Eubanks has said that many times. Jumpin' John Cade has more than anyone.
And so I asked him, I said, well, how many times did you jump to General Lee? And he said 64. And then someone else asked if he knew how many times Corey Eubanks jumped. And he said he thought it was like 45 or something like that. So,
man, that's a lot.
So he's 64. Yeah. I mean, even 40 is a lot. He did quite a few jumps. He was also Burt Reynolds' stuntman. Burt Reynolds, and you would swear that the two of them were brothers. And he said none of that was makeup or added on or whatever. That was his mustache. That was everything about him. So when he would go to do makeup, he'd show up on set to do makeup, and then they'd look at him and say, "You're good. Go on out, and we'll put some powder on when we get out there." So he looked just like Burt Reynolds. You know, Burt did a lot of his own early stunts, but then I think really about Smokey and the Bandit and on, he didn't do his own stunts.
So was John Cade Smokey and the Bandit?
I don't believe so. I didn't ask if he was in Smokey and the Bandit, but I don't think he was. I know Gibbs, I think, was the main stuntman.
So when we were talking when you were driving back, you had said he had some vertebrae removed, like he got shorter because of the jumps. Like he physically is shorter than he started because of all the General Lee jumps. You said that he had his jump vest with him, like his from the show.
And if you like, you can insert the picture right here for the YouTube.
Yeah.
He brought his vest, and this is the first time I really recall ever seeing one of these vests. It was one of the vests like Jack Gill was talking about in his interview. The little bungee straps on it and everything. He was sitting there with it, and I don't think many people really noticed it because it was kind of sitting behind him. We started talking about this picture here that he autographed for me.
Yeah, that's
which
the
is
picture
one where he's getting out.
I've seen.
That's not the vest, though. I don't know if that's just like a compression type thing because it doesn't look like an actual jump vest. But he said the vest that he brought with him was one that he used on the Dukes. He used it on Fall Guy. He used it on a number of the majority of his career. He used that vest that he had with him. So I took a picture. I said, man, I got to get a picture of you with the vest. Not wearing it, but, you know, just sitting there with it. He was happy to do that.
Who else did you meet there, stunt-wise, that you were maybe surprised by, or that was a big deal?
I knew Gary Baxley was going to be there, and if your last name's Baxley, you're like royalty in the stunt business. You know, you got Paul Baxley, you got Gary Baxley, you got Craig Jr. Craig Jr. is who jumped my car.
Paul
Gary's
Baxley
son.
is the elder?
Right.
Well, like he was the second unit director of the stunt coordinator for the Dukes of Hazzard, the whole series, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and are Craig and Gary his children?
I want to say that Craig, I hate that I can't remember this right off the top of my head, but I want to say Craig and Gary are cousins. And then so Craig Jr., of course, is Craig's son. But also there was Gary's son, Hunter Baxley. He lives in New Orleans now, and he's in the business as well. I didn't know that his son was going to be there, but I did know that Gary was going to be there. Henry Kingi was kind of supposed to be there, but he had something come up and was not able to make it. And so I was kind of looking forward to seeing him, but I understand. Saturday, that's everybody that was there. And on Sunday, Ted Barba showed up, and he was always Roscoe's stunt double. And then, of course,
guy.
He's not a big, tall guy. You might be thinking of Russell Solberg. He's a big, tall stuntman. But Ted Barba, he's medium build, you know, skinnier guy, but he was always Roscoe's double. One of his biggest stunts that he did was he and I forget the other stuntman's name, but it was both in police cars, and they jump the ditch, and then they meet headlight to headlight over the ditch and spin around and fall. And so he did a lot of that kind of stuff. And he also did the 73 Plymouth Satellite, the blue Plymouth Satellite that jumped over the Duke farm when Coy and Vance first came to town. And on that stunt, they had a very short approach. And so they used a small block car and had to put nitrous on it to get up enough speed to get it up and over the distance that they wanted. And on that jump, it was a pretty huge jump. And on that jump, he broke his back on the landing.
Jeez.
So he's still doing stunt work today as well.
Man, it's like that's a drug for everybody. Or they don't know what else to do or whatever, but they all stick with it and do it some more.
And they're like family as well. They are close family to each other.
So with all of this, I'm not even sure where the next set of... First of all, there was a helicopter that you were supposed to take a ride on. There literally was a helicopter there, that was doing stunt rides, which you had told me about. And we could have started this show just like we were hoping, right? Live from the chopper.
So cool.
We chopper you in. you land. But you got to talk with all these people and interact with them and get to see what they sound like. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff like that. Jamie Smith, though, you did a brief interview with him. And again, Jamie, I know he's a professional stuntman today, but I liken him more like you and me. He's a fan.
Yeah.
That really did something with this. I don't know if I pulled the whole interview, but I did pull some here. There's a lot of noise in the background. And
yeah, this is I was standing there with Jamie, and then one of the other media guys just happened to ask about the Crown Vic cars, and he kind of hit on a little bit and then ventured off. But that was a question I was wanting to eventually ask Jamie. So.
Yeah.
Apparently turned a Crown Victoria into a Dodge Charger.
Oh, who's the guy asking the questions?
I don't know his name, but it was someone else with media.
Okay.
This was out in the stunt field. There was kind of a lot going on, too, so.
Okay, here we go again.
Apparently turned a Crown Victoria into a Dodge Charger to make the jump.
That's the rumor right here.
So why is this and how do you do it?
Why is it?
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to destroy any Chargers. I mean, 69 Chargers are valuable.
Yes.
I never wanted to destroy a Charger, ever. From as a kid watching on Dukes to now to all the shows that I've helped with, I never did. But we didn't have an option. I worked with Tom Sermento. I love Tom, and he did a good job building safe stunt cars. But we had to take 69 Chargers, rusty ones, and he would usually strip out the interior and sell it or give it to people that needed it, which is great. And the car would usually get resold to somebody and get put back together or be a nice museum piece. So the car never really got to the crusher. It still got value, but it's a car that could be on the road. Now with Auto Metal Direct, you could buy a kit in a can. You could buy all the sheet metal. It's a little expensive, but like most people that race Saturdays, the price of the race car is, I'm probably building a Charger for the same price or less than the race car cost. So the car that I jumped last year and the car that we have this year was the same identical cars.
Just because of the extra noise, I'll kind of cut it off there. But that was the kind of the interesting point. He was more interested in why they're using something that's not a 69 Charger to represent a 69 Charger. That's the real answer. 10 years ago, though, at events where they were jumping General Lees, they were still using Chargers. The Northeast Ohio Dukes guys, I'm pretty confident they use Charger. Rusty ones, really rusty ones. But
and that's one thing that James has gone on the record of saying. James, he doesn't like a whole lot of conflict, and he don't like to stir the pot or anything like that. So I don't think he was really directing this towards the Northeast Ohio people. But anyways, he said in a video one time was, if a car was too rusty to restore, then really it's too rusty to be a stunt car. It's not safe. And that was kind of his whole reasoning for going with Crown Vic. It's about the same width, the same length, the same wheelbase, everything. It just works. There's no reason to use a rusty shell and, risk killing yourself.
Yeah.
And plus, it saves money too.
All true. And if this is the route we need to go to keep doing these for the next 20, 30 years, fine.
There's no shortage of Crown Vics.
Yeah.
Just go watch a movie.
It would be more appropriate if it were a Dodge, but fine.
The Crown Vic is perfect. It's a full-frame car. It's perfect for it. So Dodge doesn't make a full-frame car.
Bernie, you had mentioned prior to recording you had something else you wanted to run for Bo or John Schneider?
A few weeks ago, I believe it was, we were talking that when he was on, he was talking about his musical appearances that he was going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens we live in the Metroplex between Dallas and Fort Worth, and so that means that there's Dallas and then there's Fort Worth on the other side. In between are a bunch of cities. One of those cities is a little town called Arlington, and they have a music hall, kind of a little local type music venue. And we get a flyer from them, seen a couple of shows there. It's kind of cool. So this is a non-paid advertisement for that place. But coming, what page is it on? Oh, I missed this. A tribute to Conway Twitty and a salute to Loretta Lynn, May 17th. And Vicki Lawrence and Mama, June 7th.
Ooh, Mama's Family? I love Mama's Family.
Yeah, just her and Mama. Here it is. June 14th, John Schneider. And there's the playbill.
There he is.
Are you going to go?
I think I am. What's the consensus of the group here? What should I do? Should I interview him and see if he liked the way Corndog interviewed him?
I think you should show up and say, I know Corndog, and things will solve themselves after that. I'm pretty sure that's all you got to do.
He'll say, wait, you know that guy that was following me around taking pictures all the time?
Very disturbing.
You know that guy?
Yes. He's not welcome back.
Are there any questions we want to know about this side of John Schneider that we have just scratched the surface of?
I would actually, basically about this event. Now that everything's kind of calm, because, you know, you try to talk to him during the event, and of course, he's got a million things going on at once. So that's why I really didn't ever want to bother him with, like, trying to autograph my deck lid or whatever. I was lucky enough just to get the script autographed, but, you know, because he's juggling all these things. Mm-hmm. But it would be nice to hear from him on his thoughts after, you know, the event, how it went, how he feels about his jump. You know, I know he felt good afterwards, but, you know, his adrenaline's still pumping too. So it would be good to, you know, hear a few months out how he felt about the event.
Were you carrying by chance the deck lid under one of your arms and holding the recorder in the other one during this, and you just never got to it to sign it? Is that it?
No, I left it in my truck, but my truck was fairly close by, and I had plenty of opportunities when I was up there with the stunt crew and helping them set up, because he would pull up on that little side-by-side Ranger thing that he's got, and he'd pull up and check on us and do some Facebook Live videos and all that. Me and James talked about it afterwards, and James even tried to get him to sign it, but this was real late in the game. Kid Rock was getting ready to go on the stage. It was kind of a high-stress time anyways, and so me and James talked about it. He actually called me yesterday on his way out, and he's like, if we'd have done it earlier, and I told him that's not that big of a deal. I mean, had I thought about it, you know, I would have brought it up there while we were doing the stunt, prepping for the stunts. It wasn't really my top priority. So, no, I wasn't carrying it around everywhere. I just left it in my truck.
Did John do anything with Kid Rock on stage?
Yes. I was not there when Kid Rock first took the stage. From what I understood was John was on there with him at first. I think they maybe sang one or two songs, and then it was all Kid Rock. And then about midways through, John came back out, and they sang the theme song to the Dukes of Hazzard. And then it went back to full throttle Kid Rock.
I have to find video of that one. So I'm going to admit two things. Number one, Bernie, what I would like to know, I don't want you to ask, but I would like to know is, like, did this work? Did this get him out of the financial ruin?
Financially work.
Did this save the bacon? And number two, I did not think Kid Rock was going to show up. I don't know why I was skeptical. I thought something would fall through at the last second. And I feel bad for even saying that out loud, but I didn't think it was going to happen. So
he actually even showed up early because of the weather. They were worried about the rain coming in. And by the way, it did not rain a drop the whole time I was there. And Kid Rock did come early, and so he took the stage probably 3 hours earlier than he was supposed to.
Yeah, did he show up at 11?
Doors open at 3:30. I'll be there at 11. Sounds good.
He may have. I don't know.
I have heard, I have some friends who are like super Kid Rock friends and like follow him around just because he puts on such a good concert that he goes above and beyond. Like it's not a shock that he would show up early and be prepared and like totally entertain the bejesus out of everybody. He has a General Lee. Is that a replica? Does he have a real one? I've seen it on videos.
That's one of the Bose General Lees.
One of Bose General Lees?
I think it may actually be the first one.
That's awesome. I mean, there's so much more ground we could cover here, but what's your take? Did you have fun? Was it what you thought it would be?
I had a blast. You could see I have not shaved. I got sunburnt. I was on my feet pretty much the whole time. But like I said, I was hanging out with the stunt crew. And I've always said this, I would rather, nothing against the actors or anything, I would rather spend 20 minutes listening to stunt guys' stories than to listen to an hour of actors' stories. The stunt guys, that's kind of the bread and butter for me. So I was living it up with the stunt guys, I guess you could say. So that was what I wanted to do. I had a blast.
I think it's great. I can totally tell you were in your element. I was checking for flights Saturday morning to see if I could come join you. I couldn't. I ended up doing stuff for, sounds lame, but for my church. So I was helping
financial.
Jesus. Yeah. We do a financial counseling segment for the new marrieds, but that was awesome. So hopefully there'll be some more events that we can go hit this year. As we record this next weekend, I believe, should be the event in Bakersfield. With the Muscle King, so I'm sure we can find a way to get a report there. There's a new event at Cooters later this year. I think we're going to have Catherine Bach on to promote that one. That should be fun. A number of things are cooking this year. I'm more and more committed in taking my General Lee on the Bandit Run tour. I don't know why I want to do that. I just want to do it, and it runs from Dallas all the way to Kansas City. So that would be a super fun time. But for those of you that really enjoy this stuff, we thank you for listening and supporting it and allowing us to go get to do stuff like this. Please do support the sponsors that you hear in the show. These sponsors do pay to be here and allow us the privilege to keep doing this. If you are a Patreon supporter, we do this show like after dark for the Patreon listeners. So all the stuff that we can't say in the normal release, that goes in the Patreon episode. I did want to make a special thank you to Priscilla and Ethan, also known as Rest Owner. They upped their contribution on Patreon. They are now a $10 contributor. That was really appreciated. You know, as we've transitioned through from Mike now to Corndog and Bernie, we expect different changes through Patreon. What's interesting is I see more people up in their contribution to help us even more. And in return for that, we're going to start doing a little more extra stuff, because that was in Patreon. Technically, you're supposed to give more to higher contributors. I know that, but we'll start finding ways to do that. But man, it's only April. Look how much stuff we've done this year. This is crazy.
We're off to a bang.
I haven't even told you about my car. Well, I'll save that for the next episode. That will be great.
And also, I've been posting the last couple of days. I've been posting all of my pictures from the event on my Facebook page. I probably won't do all of them on Instagram, but they're all on my Facebook page.
Very good. If I can figure out how to use the repost app, I will repost them to the Kibbe and Friends page as well.
Okay.
I'm not very good at that, yes.
I only took I think it was 620 pictures.
Yeah.
The album will not have 620 pictures in it, but it'll be 100 or better.
Probably about 580.
Yeah, somewhere.
Something like that. All right. Bernie, anything else?
I'm done. Thank you. End this thing. Let's rock.
Let's leave. MeUndies.com/KAFS, Patreon.com/KAFS. And you can also please leave us a review in iTunes. That is it for this episode, fellas. I will see you later.
See you later.